that's recording. You indicated here that on the paper that you're okay with it being recorded.
Yeah.
Just to remind you, all the information will be anonymized. No one else is going to hear your voice apart from people who are transcribing.
Yeah.
And any identifiable information will be removed.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you say is confidential and not anonymous. During the, I don't want to say interview, it's more like a discussion, like a chat. I'll be taking notes. Feel free to ask me what I'm writing or have a look.
Yeah.
At any point, if you want to withdraw, you're welcome to do so without explanation. And if at any point after the interview you think that you want to change something you said or you want to add something, just email us and we'll do that. Mm-hmm. Okay? So do you have any other questions before we start?
Oh, yeah. We can start.
Yeah? Okay. So our aim of this... Well, I'm just the research assistant. By the way, I have no affiliation to Hong Kong U. I don't study here. I'm just the research assistant. And I hope that you feel like this space is safe for you to vent anything, say anything that you'd like to say. So we're really interested in the experiences of individuals who are not Hong Kong raised. In Hong Kong, and specifically in Hong Kong U, we are interested in any frustrations, any roadblocks, any barriers, anything that kind of, or anything that significantly changed your expectations, and also the good parts, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you like, what you don't like, in regards to the faculty, hall, social life, absolutely anything about your experience here in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. So with that, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about why you decided to come to this interview.
Why do I want to come to this interview? Okay, because I'm also from the Faculty of Education.
Okay.
And I'm a first-year PhD student, and I'm intending to do a qualitative study.
Okay.
Which is pretty similar to what we're doing right now.
Okay.
So I want to get some idea how we're doing it.
Okay, that's great. So you kind of want to learn about
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Hopefully,
we
can...
be sure I will be genuine about my response.
Good, thank you. I hope we can both.
I think this topic is also very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what interests you about the topic?
Because you're looking for difficulties and challenges international students face, and there's usually not many opportunities for us to express what we want or what we need.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with that, what are some of the things that you want to express?
So first of all, regarding to the study part, learning part, because I'm in in humanities department, I think the PhD life in humanity part is quite isolated. You don't usually see your professors often. It's usually through online, email, conversation, and what do I want to say? And also the physical, the office. Because for humanities, many students, they don't often come to the office. They prefer to do it at home or the other places. So it's kind of lack that peer support or senior student support. Because most first-year students, they come to office very often. But for senior students, they are not showing up that often. So it's kind of sometimes you want to learn their experience. You want to know more from them, but you don't have that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they choose to work from home.
Yeah.
Right. So there's
not many social interaction opportunities for us, I think.
And you think that is impacting your...
Yeah.
Okay.
But another good thing about the Faculty of Education is that it provides many different kinds of seminars from both the professors and PhD students in Hong Kong U, and also other like visiting professors from around the world. So although I don't take many courses in the first semester, but I have a lot of opportunity to like attend different seminars by different people around the world, and they are all doing like research about education in different parts of the world. So that's kind of good. Yeah. So that provides another opportunity for me to like at least know something, know the latest trend in the field. Yeah. That's a good part.
Okay.
So that's regarding to the academic. So for other things.
What about, it sounds like you're sort of looking for support from senior students, and you don't really have that because they're not in the office, they're not physically there. Do you have access to other sources of support?
And it's usually like from the supervisor, one-on-one.
And how is
also the supervisor? My supervisor, she's like proposing like a informal study group.
Okay.
So the next studying group will come like next week or the next. I don't know yet. So that's the first time we're going to like form a study group. I think that will be good, but I don't know how it will work, so I can't comment now.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was your supervisor's idea?
Yeah, my supervisor and other professors' ideas.
Okay.
Because some of us, we are in quite similar field.
Right.
So they think it's better to group us together and like read some literature together and discuss if we can find anything. Yeah.
Okay. And that sounds like a good idea, as then you have your sort of peer. So how is your relationship with your supervisor? It sounds like the informal groups, the study group, is a good idea.
Yeah, I think she's very supportive, although we are like the first semester here.
Right.
And she's already proposed us to attend a conference next June. And this is like panel discussion among 5 of her first year PhD students.
Right.
So all of us are first year.
Oh,
and
wow.
She gives us this opportunity, and she suggests us to go there and to see what it's like.
Yeah, so it sounds like...
Because I know that for many students, they don't have this opportunity in their first year. Yeah, some of them, they have to like wait for second year or even later to do that.
Yeah, so that sounds really interesting. Your
Yeah.
supervisor, would you say your supervisor is very like hands-on, gives you ideas, very sort of supportive? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And that style works for you? Okay.
Yeah, although I don't see her often, but we have a class this semester, so it's okay. We see each other like once a week in the class.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you didn't have a class with her, how often would you see her?
Usually once a month. Yeah.
Okay. And is that enough for you, do you think? Would it be enough for you?
Yeah, I think for now it's okay, because first year I'm still exploring, so if I go like more often, I don't know what to say to her.
Right.
Yeah.
So once a month for now is good.
Yeah, for now it's okay.
But maybe in the future you'd want it to be more frequent, or?
Yeah, and I personally, sometimes I prefer like email, because I feel like in that way I can elaborate my ideas more clearly, and I can, basically I can think before I actually say something. In the meeting, sometimes I might feel, well, I don't have those thoughts in mind. Yeah.
So emailing allows you a little bit of more time to think and formulate your ideas before you...
Yeah.
Okay, so you personally prefer to use email as a communication for most things?
For like academic things.
Okay, academic, yeah. Okay. So it sounds like your relationship with your supervisor is quite healthy. Would you say it's working for you and works for her?
Yeah,
okay.
It's working for us.
Great. It's good to hear. Sometimes a lot of the participants we've interviewed have some style mismatches with their supervisor. But it's good to hear that you work well with your supervisor.
Yeah, and also for the conference we have to like each of us has to submit a like abstract. It's only like for 300 to 400 words. It's a very small abstract. So we are deciding to do it in a panel. So everyone has to do it, and then there's a like student coordinator to do this panel. And the initial like due date for this abstract is this Monday, but like it's not a due date. It's like the well, this is the time we said, we have to all submit our abstract and for the peer review and other feedback, and then before we finally submit it to the conference. But I didn't do it. I didn't finish it by that time, and the coordinator, so another student, and also my professor, they didn't like push me. They waited for like 2 more days, and on Wednesday, I think on Wednesday afternoon, my supervisor asked me, so how's your abstract coming along? Is it okay? Do you need my feedback? And I think your idea, because I'd already told her my idea, I just don't know how to put it into words, and I need more time to like to do a good abstract. But so she didn't push me, and she said, well, she just asked me like 2 days after the deadline and then say how's it going. And I feel that's very good.
It works for you. Okay. So your style works with your supervisor's supervision style. That's good. So were you able to finish your abstract?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sure. Good job. Okay, well, I guess that all sounds very good. Why don't we start with the first question?
Challenges?
Challenges in terms of adapting.
Life. So talking about
you talked about
academic, moving on to something else. So the reason why I came here to do my PhD is mainly because my boyfriend is here, so he's in another university. So he's not in Hong Kong yet. And so because of him, he came here last year, so I think he already did some adapting kind of for me, so I'm more familiar with this environment now, so I don't feel much difficulty like adapting.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you mean he helped with adapting?
Because
do you live together? Or?
No. We meet like once a week.
Okay.
Because he's here for a year, so
he can
tell me something.
Right.
Yeah. About the life in Hong Kong, about the academic life, what's it like to be a PhD. He's also a PhD.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what did he say?
So I think I'm learning something from him, especially regarding to the PhD life.
Yeah. What is the
because
PhD?
his supervisor is like kind of demanding.
Okay.
He's doing like engineering, so it's different subjects. I think that's it can cause different styles of supervisors.
Of course.
Yeah, so I learned some tricks from him to avoid being in a like disadvantaged position in my academic life. Yeah.
So what is the PhD lifestyle?
For me or
for you?
Because for my PhD, it's also first year, and I'm not fully like dedicated to it yet. So I still want to try different things at the same time. So I tend, in addition to the seminars related to my field, I try to go to different like events, like alternative career paths for like postgraduate students. I attended that just yesterday, and it's kind of interesting to know different like life, in addition to the academia. I think that's the thing I want to say about my academic life, PhD life. I'm not yet dedicated
really
to
glued
one
into
thing.
it. Okay. That's okay. It's only first semester, so it's good that you're able to explore other, keep your options open, and you're like doing a lot of things at once. I think that's a really good use of your time. What about in terms of adapting to a new country or adapting to a new, I don't know how similar HKU is to your previous schools. How was that?
So for my background, I'm from mainland China. I did my bachelor there in Beijing. And then I went to Canada for 2 years to do my master's. And then I came here to do the PhD.
Okay.
So I had some like international experience before I came here.
Interesting. So how is that? So you're international. Are you international? You count yourself as international here?
But not local, but not international.
Right.
Because we share the like same cultural backgrounds. Even though I can't speak their language, I can understand Cantonese. Yeah.
So I'm interested in what you just said about having the same cultural background. So is it so like culturally? What does it mean?
Culture. I mean, at least at least we listen to the same same singers. Yeah, and if we talk about like TV shows, something we know what they're talking about.
Right.
Compared to when I was in Canada, the music they listen to, the TV drama they watched, I have no idea what they're doing. Sometimes they've like watched that one series for like 10 years from their teenage years, and they're so excited about, wow, this is coming again. I can't wait to go back home to watch it, and I don't know why. So that's very different.
Right. So sort of like lifestyle.
Yeah. But here, I think most time I can.
More similar.
Yeah, but language is still a very like big barrier.
Big barrier.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about language?
Language? Yeah. Language. What do I say? For example, for some, like there are some, even in Hong Kong, it's like English medium university, but some of their like events or activities are conducted in Cantonese. And when I say their flyer or poster, its language is Cantonese, I would say, okay, it's not for me.
Right.
I would think that way, even though sometimes I want to go to that event. Even the topic is interesting, but I think, there's no interpreter, there's, the barrier, hold me back.
Yeah, so language as a barrier to access for events, which sometimes means access to knowledge. Have you ever sort of brought that up with supervisor or faculty or admin? Have you ever voiced that concern?
But they're also trying to do that. For example, for one activity I attended, it's I think it's mainly for the Common Core curriculum they have. So what's that called? It's called GE or General Education.
You mean the
units,
core courses that people have to take? You mean
it's not courses, activities they organized to strengthen students' common core ability.
Okay.
So it's public lecture, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Public talk. Yeah. For some of those activities, the Hong Kong U, because they're translation students in Hong Kong U, so those students, they will do the interpretation for the audience if they don't know Cantonese.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I attended one of those events, but I think it's not the quality of interpretation, but I mean, if it's good to have the interpreter to do the translation for me, but it's still, there's some, for example, when the speaker says something in Cantonese, suddenly everyone is laughing, and I don't know why they're laughing. Yeah, and the interpreter even though she interpreted it, I still don't know why. So,
You don't mind?
Yeah, so that's kind of, and I can't. I think when the lecture is or when the event is in Cantonese, if I want to ask something, do I need to ask it in Cantonese or can I just ask it in English?
Right.
Because there are many audience they don't know English, so that's another concern for me.
Well, what do you think that you should answer in, or what do you think you should speak in?
Well, of course English because I don't know how to do Cantonese, and there's interpreter, so they can do that for me.
Do you feel pressure to speak a certain language?
Pressure. Not pressured, but not pressured. I just feel like I need to learn it, yeah, in order to better understand something. Yeah.
You
And
feel
speaking of the language, many like student activities are like organized in Cantonese. Yeah. For example, recently they're going to have like a end of year concert or performance. I don't know exactly what it is, and they're like recruiting hosts, like student hosts for that event, and the requirement is Cantonese, and you have to know Cantonese because the performance is for like parents of the students, so you have to know the language to interact with parents. Yeah.
okay, so that already is something that you can't participate in even if you
Yeah.
wanted to because of the
Yeah,
language.
and for the host, I don't mean the like host standing on the stage to do the
event.
events. Yeah, I mean the host like doing student volunteer, that kind of host, even for that.
Oh, so even just like volunteering to help out.
Yeah. So that's. So I want to attend that event, but I think they need a Cantonese. Well, I better not to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about Hong Kong U being an international university and claiming to be an English as the language of instruction? How has that? What do you have anything to say about?
Well, I think it's English as instruction, but it's not English as everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's not English as like life.
Right.
Yeah.
So perhaps, okay.
So, for example, when I like go to canteen to eat, most time I can like order it in Mandarin and they have no problem understanding me. But sometimes, especially when I go to pick up my food, those chefs, I think some of them they don't know much about Mandarin, so it will be a problem. So then I will switch to English and they will, yeah.
And they can understand English better than Putonghua?
Yeah.
Okay. What about in terms of interacting with other staff or faculty? How has language, if at all, how has language affected that?
Other staff or faculty? Well, in our faculty, the language is always English, no matter in class or outside class. But for postgraduate school, not postgraduate, graduate school, I went like for several times to submit my forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes they use like Mandarin. Yeah. But they are also, but I think they are like quite capable of using English, but they choose to speak Mandarin with me. Yeah.
Okay, and how does that make you feel when they choose to speak Mandarin with you?
Well, I feel it's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you prefer them?
But most time they will start with Cantonese, and then most time that's my mistake. Most time they'll start with Cantonese, and then they will see that I don't understand, and then they will change to Mandarin. Yeah, that's the most common pattern of interaction with other.
So they don't even start with English?
No.
Okay, interesting. Do they ever...
I mean, hall, like living the residential halls.
Okay, you live in halls.
Yeah, the manager or the working staff, they will always start with Cantonese, and then they see I don't understand, and then they will try to say some Mandarin, although it's not that good. But then we can still like understand each other. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about halls, living in halls. How was that experience for you?
For halls, well, the first thing I want to say is about admission, because the main round for postgraduate students applying for the hall is in early July. But by that time I didn't get my official offer yet. So with that official offer, I cannot apply for a hall. Yeah, so I have to wait till I get my official offer, and by that time the main round is already closed. So I tried to apply in the second round, and I got an interview, but I didn't pass it because for that hall they told me it's mainly for undergraduates. So the postgraduates they have like their Euro halls. So I have to wait for a month to get another opportunity for the interview. So I lived in my boyfriend's place for a month till I get admitted in the hall I'm living right now.
Wow! So if you hadn't,
so that's in October, middle October. Yeah.
So if you didn't have a boyfriend,
so that would be a big problem for me.
Yeah.
And for my roommate, my current roommate, we are sharing a double room. My roommate, she has already rented a room near Hong Kong U for like a month, and then suddenly she got the interview, she got the admission, and then she has to like transfer the lease to another student, and then move into the hall. So that's it, like big issue for many international students.
So do you know the reason why there was why the offer letter came through later than the first round of applications? First round of applications for housing for halls?
I think because most time the official letter comes before the end of June. Yeah, but because my master's degree, I got some problem there, so I have to delay for like 2 months. So I didn't get the graduation certificate by then. So I have to wait till I get the certificate, and then I can change my conditional offer to unconditional. So that's what I missed.
Okay. So there was like a time, like a domino effect from the late.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So it wasn't really inefficiency on the university's part. It was more just the time delay from earlier. Okay.
Yeah, but for many students, when I was trying to, because I've lived in my boyfriend's place for a month, I cannot live it any longer. I'm trying to find a place near Hong Kong U, and many students, they have the same situation. They've rented the house they've spent their whole summer looking for a appropriate room in Hong Kong, and then they pay the rent, they bought their furniture, they did everything, and then they lived there for just 1 month, and they got the admission letter from the hall. So they have to sell everything again. They have to, because the lease usually in Hong Kong when you sign a lease is 2 years, so they have to transfer the lease to another student. So that's a huge problem.
Yeah. So during this process, fortunately you had your boyfriend.
Yeah.
But it sounds like even still with your boyfriend, living with him for that month, it must have been kind of hectic and kind of...
Yeah, I always have to like commuting between two schools. That's the first thing. And then I have to always think about, well, where am I going to leave for next month?
Right.
Yeah.
And how was it? Did you talk to the admin much? Like, did you ever ask about the status of your application, or did you have much contact with the school while you were during that month?
During that month, I attended like 2 interviews. The first one I like failed because the hall is mainly for undergraduates, and the second one I submitted because after like September, after the start of the school year, they are like doing a clearing round. So if there are any vacancy, they will post it on the website, so you can see how many vacancies they still have, and then you can apply, and then you may have the opportunity to get interviewed, and then to finally get admitted. Another thing I want to talk about is the interview. So for a hall admission, you have to go through an interview. It's like you have to submit a application form. It's like when you apply for a degree.
Okay.
You have to say what qualification you have, what past experience, work experience, everything you have, academic background. Did you ever publish any paper? Yeah. That's all they have to take into consideration during the selection.
Really?
Yeah, and then I have to go to the interview.
And what do they ask you in the interview?
It's an interview like why do you want to choose our hall? What can you contribute? What do you expect from our hall? That kind of question.
Okay. So they don't really ask you about what they asked for in the application, which sounds to me a lot of maybe irrelevant information, like the degree and publications and all that. Do you have any thoughts on that? The application content?
Yeah, I think it's kind of irrelevant. But for my hall, they want to make sure the local, mainland, international students have like 1:1 ratio. They want to make sure that. So even though I heard it from other like residents in my hall. I heard that even there is vacancy in the hall, it can be like vacant for a whole semester, for a whole year. Even there's vacancy. I don't know why. Maybe they want to make sure the ratio. I really don't know why. Yeah.
So, assuming that this is true, the 1:1 ratio, how is the social life in halls?
Yeah, even if it's like 1:1 ratio, because I got admitted like in October, so I didn't have a chance to meet the other floor mates, because in early September they have a floor meeting. Yeah, the tutor and everyone in the floor, they have a meeting to get to know each other. Yeah, but because I missed that meeting, so I still didn't know all of the floor mates yet. Yeah.
So are there many social events in your halls?
Yeah, there are many social events, and but I haven't done a lot yet. Yeah, but most time it's like film screening. They have film screening. They have talk with their guests. They invite some guests to have a talk, and there are sport activity. There are music. Yeah, that kind of thing. I haven't done anything yet. And we have high table. High table is like a tradition of Hong Kong U Hall. So every month we have to so all the hall members, we have to dress in our gowns, like black gowns for postgraduates and green gowns for undergrads. Yeah, then we have to sit in like hall to have like formal dinner, together.
And what do you think about those high table
It's
events?
so the guest speaker will deliver a speech, and then we'll start to eat together. So the first time I didn't, but the way they arrange the high table, so they will arrange like one floor of male students with one floor of female students. So it's always male, female, male, female. They want to promote that, like the exchange, and sometimes it works. I know someone has found their other half, in high table. I find it quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay, that's one way to lay things out. What about so would you say the high table dinners are enjoyable socially? Like, do you mix with other mainland students, international students, local students, or not really?
Not really, because we have a sit, so we have to sit there the whole time during the dinner. So the only people we can talk to is usually the friends sitting next to us. For those, we already know each other, and the boys, the male students on the other side of the table. So it's usually one or two, or maximum maybe three.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So after the high table, they want us to do like social in the. It's like a podium on the ground floor of our hall, but there's not much space for all those students. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those sound kind of fun. Do you enjoy them?
The high table?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah, actually we just had the last high table for this semester last night. Yeah, because it's end of the semester, many people have like deadlines. So yeah, there are many students, they did not show up last night. Yeah.
So you don't really enjoy them?
And it's kind of weird. I think they try to like imitate the Oxbridge tradition. Yeah, and they have, because we live in a hall wearing like gowns, and we have waitress serving us. I don't feel quite comfortable being served by those young ladies. Yeah, because they're at the same age with us, I think. Yeah.
Okay. But you have to go to these events, right? You have to go to the high table. Is it an obligation?
Yeah, it's obligation, and it's very important for readmission to hall.
Okay.
If you can't show up, you have to send apology letter to the apology they call it.
Okay.
But they say it's not that terrible.
Right.
If you have a reason, it's a reason. It's not like good reason.
Right.
Yeah. Only if you have a reason you can excuse for that item.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an apology letter.
Okay. Well, that doesn't sound too. It's just another option for you to socialize, and if you don't want to go, then there's at least the option to write an apology letter.
Yeah. The last high table was on October 31st, so it's Halloween. And still many students didn't show up. Yeah.
Because of Halloween.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That was unfortunate timing. Okay. What about in terms of expectations? You said that you're... what about expectations in terms of like... Could you make some comparisons between HKU, your life in HKU and your life in Canada? Apart from like lifestyle and lifestyle differences, and obviously being two very different countries, what are some other differences or similarities that you found?
You mean in two countries or in two schools? In two universities?
Two universities.
You mean difference between two universities?
Well, between HKU and the Canadian University. like your difference in terms of like how do you feel about yourself here, or how do you feel about your studies, your perception of your. What I'm trying to understand is, I mean, obviously there are differences between every single university, but what is uniquely different about HKU? It could be good, it could be bad.
Uniquely different.
Or what is an experience here that kind of surprised you? It could be like the way things are run, or it could be like socially, it could be like community feel.
Well, one thing is that I didn't expect there would be so many like seminars or the one I just talked about from like visiting professors around the world. I didn't expect that many things. And a good thing about Hong Kong U, I think, is that there's like student email service, so they send you tons of emails every day about the different activities on campus every day, every night. So every day I got up, I received like 20 or even more emails.
Wow.
So most of them are like activities or things happening on the campus. I find that's quite helpful because otherwise I don't know where I can get that information conveniently. Yeah, which is what the Canadian university didn't offer, and I think that's a big big what? I think that's a big difference.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Hong Kong user experience helps me. Yeah, compared to Canadian experience.
So I guess that's like transparency, communication. Yeah.
For example, when I was there, I had to search by myself what's going on on the campus. What do they offer? I had to do the search by myself. But now they're like feeding me, kind of. Yeah.
That works for you?
Yeah, I like that way, and they have like register process. Every time there's a link in the email, if you want to go, you can register, and then I think that's more efficient.
Okay.
Regarding to both the participant and the organizers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds quite convenient to just have everything come into your inbox.
Yeah.
What about some things that maybe aren't so efficient?
Not so efficient.
Maybe you haven't had any.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yet. Okay, well that's good. It's generally positive. Yeah. We've done those. Okay. What about? Have you ever needed help or information from the admin, and have you ever had to seek information from them about like submission of forms or looking for different protocols or rules or documents? Like, have you ever needed to go to the admin for help for something?
Yeah, I went to what's that? I don't remember clearly. I think I need to register for a course or something, and they have like a chairperson of some committee, and I don't know who that person is, and I have to go and ask, and they say, well, you don't need to do that by yourself. You can just give us the form, and we'll do it for you. So that's their like regular process. But during the in the email or in the email they didn't say it, so I don't know where to go to find that person.
So there was like a miscommunication, would you say, or just
Yeah, sometimes they assume you know that, but actually you don't know. Yeah, and most of the time it's okay, I think, for me.
Okay, so it's not particularly negative. Your experiences with seeking information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
every time there's no like waiting line for me to wait 20 minutes to do that. Yeah, it's always like quick and easy, and they will do it for me. So I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's quite.
Yeah. I guess the only thing we haven't really touched on is your this last question. How have community and institutional expectations affected your perception of self, success, and the desirability of achieving your end goal?
Expectation affect the individuals.
Maybe it hasn't. Maybe it hasn't really affected your perception of self. Do you feel motivated here?
Because nowadays, like with the trend of like AI and the entrepreneurship, everything on the campus, they're doing that. Like we're having a competition, we are having a guest speaker from a big technology company, we are having what's that, founder? Yeah. So everyone is talking about that. So I think it's both a good thing and bad thing. But in our faculty, not many people are talking that, so I think it's a good opportunity to know that other people are expecting something else from their students instead of just like academia.
Right.
So, for example, for the like talk I attended yesterday, the alternative path for postgraduate students. Yeah. So many students went to that event and they were all eager to know what else they can do if they don't want to do academia. Yeah, even if they get admitted to the postgraduate study. Yeah, I think for many people now they're kind of confusing, but because of the pressure, they can't just stop there. They have to get something and at the same time looking for something else.
Right.
So they will like walk towards a goal, but they don't even necessarily know what the goal is. And when they walk, but they have to walk ahead, so they just choose a degree, choose a university to continue their study, and while doing their study, they do something else to try to find what's best for students. Yeah.
I think what you're saying is like someone knows that they have to continue doing something, but they don't really know what it is, so they'll just get themselves into a position where they have different options and then decide what to do. Mm-hmm. Is that similar to your experience or no?
Yeah, as I said before, this is my experience. I'm doing my PhD, but I'm still open to other options, and like during like high table and other times, I communicating with my peers or other students from other departments. They also have the same like concerns. Yeah.
So do you think that's a personality thing? Like you're not so certain on what you want to pursue, or do you think it's more like a university thing that maybe there's no method of like motivation that's working for you, or they don't push you, or
but
what?
I don't think it's the institution motivation. It's like self-motivation.
Yeah.
Because nowadays there are like so many options, and everyone is looking for entrepreneurship. Because I'm doing education, so the trend for education is turning to like STEM, and now turning to entrepreneurship. So everything the school offers is like entrepreneurship, like summer camp. In the past, it may be like STEM summer camp, and in the past, it might be more traditional, like character training camp. So now it's moving towards entrepreneurship. So everyone is saying that. So it kind of gives you pressure, but at the same time, I think it's a good thing. For me, I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, I think, is there anything else that you really that you want to say about your experience, positive or negative?
Oh yeah, another thing. Because we are postgraduate students, we are required to take some courses in first year mainly before we continue before the probation. Yeah, so for those required course, I just take one from graduate school and one from my faculty. So those two are both quantitative research method. Yeah. I don't think those courses are very helpful for us. So for the graduate school course, it's a 4-week course. Every time is 3 hours. And it's on Saturday morning, 9:30.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah. So the instructor they have like it's like handbook. The graduate school they did it beforehand. So in the class, the instructor just need to read the handbook to us.
So that's not helpful for you?
Yeah, because like quantitative, it relates to statistics, and there's many numbers, like equations, those things.
Right.
If you just read the handbook, it's not gonna help a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not helpful for you?
Yeah. So for that course, even though the concept is not very difficult, but because of the way they present it, they just read the slides, and it leaves you no time to think, and there's no student interaction or student-teacher interaction at all. So you feel like, wow, this is so difficult. And then for the faculty course, it's a like completely different thing. The instructor assumes that we know nothing about statistics, we know nothing about quantity method, and he will start with very, very basic things like, do you know how to do like the average, like mean? Do you know how to count median? So it's very different expectation.
Right.
Yeah, they don't even try to like do the needs analysis of students, what students want to know and what they already know. So I think they need to work more on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, instead of coming to the class, ask students what do you know and guessing what students know.
Right.
Yeah. So for the faculty course, it's very interesting that the instructor basically stands there and asking us, guessing, do you know this? Oh, do you know this? Oh, you know, I assume you know, right? So
right.
Yeah.
So it's not really tailored to the students' needs. Mm-hmm. Okay, and in that way, it's not useful for you because it's too basic.
But I think it's varied, like different students. For
right.
me, I think that's very awkward. If you don't know what students need, why do you offer this course? But for my peers, who also attend that course, they find it very helpful for them because they find the teacher, compared to the last teacher in graduate school, they found him more like practical because we are doing it in a computer lab, so we can do the SPSS and the Excel thing on the computer while he's explaining. Yeah, so they find it quite helpful. But for me, I think it's like too easy. So why are we still doing this?
Yeah, that can be frustrating if you're just sitting through stuff that you've heard before.
Yeah. So they really need to like know students first and then design courses.
Yeah.
Accordingly.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, we've gone almost an hour. I guess, do you have any questions at this point? Or further comments?
So I want to know what's your, like, the aim of your study? Like, what's your final product?
Well, what we're trying to do is sort of get an idea of the main barriers faced by international students, and then hopefully use that to inform policies and best practices. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Are you also doing, like, what the like institution expectation? Like, for example, this question, because for those, like, courses I mentioned, the graduate course,
Yeah.
it just came, like, several years ago. I think 2 or 3 at most years ago. So, and before they didn't have those required course for all postgraduate students. So now I don't know why they find it's useful. I think I heard someone say that in the past some students, they have difficulty with that, like, research method thing. So graduate house think,
So that's
graduate
why.
school think they need to provide it, right. But now it's like mandatory for all students. So it's kind of going from one extreme to the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this research is under the Faculty of Education. So we're not doing any kind of, like, we're not looking for feedback for the grad school or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of participants refer to the grad school courses. Yeah, but that's not as specific. We're not looking out for certain, like, things for the grad school. But it's quite common for participants to bring it up.
Yeah. If there, like, is enough, like, information data about the complaints about the course, are they going to change it?
I can't say. I don't know. I mean, maybe if they read our report and if it comes out, then and if that's something we include in the research, maybe. I don't know, but we really don't have that affiliation.
Yeah, because this semester I only take this course, the quantity method, and some of my peers, they are taking, like, introduction to thesis writing, like, transferable skills, and they all find it useless and a waste of time.
Yeah, that's we've had that from some other participants also.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so